Start button's flashing, so it must be on free play, so it must be saving my settings. I must have not played a game since I changed the NVRAM. What's that, Arnold?
I'm back.
Ah, I see. I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Yesterday, I walked beside Terminator 3 and accidentally hit the flipper button. And the TX Terminatrix said, "Your shoe is untied." I love all the little fun Easter eggs of Pinball and Terminator 3. So I am going to address this weird solenoid. I busted it out. I removed it from the mech yesterday during the last little tweak session. So what's going on with this vertical up kicker is this. How does this happen? I don't really understand. I don't get it. Okay, so it does have a diode. Sometimes this coil was kind of energizing. Sometimes it wasn't. Like it was locking on. I'm not really sure what really is going on here. I haven't really... It's basically like a ball trough with a couple roll like micro switches, a couple optos. These are the same kind of opto boards that you normally see in the main trough. Let's see. It looks pretty similar. Might be identical, maybe not, because this board has an additional opto. So there's two optos there, one for registering the ball and its resting position, and one to register if there's two balls actually stacked there. The stacking opto, I think, is what it's pretty much referred to as. But it doesn't appear, yeah, that's a little bit smaller. It doesn't have a stacking opto, just the one. And I cleaned both those optos. But, so that is where you lock balls. That must be behind the drop target, where the ball goes once you lock it. I never really paid that much attention to it, so I'm going to replace this for starters, because that certainly is sketchy. 26-1200. I just don't know if I have one of those. I mean, you would think I might. I think it's pretty common. So, and then I will see if that issue is resolved. And once I do that, I'm getting pretty close to the point of being satisfied with this machine. What else do I have on the list? I do have the latest code coming, 4.0. Up post. I got to make sure all the... There's like 2 or 3 up posts back there. I want to make sure they're all working. Redo the connector for power. Well, oh, I didn't mention this, did I? I'll show you. I checked the voltage for the CPU to make sure it was at a good voltage, and it actually is. So I'll show you that in a minute. Yeah, maybe I'll clean the RPG targets while I'm in there. Just a quick little cleaning with the, like sandpaper 600 grit that's pretty much already worn out so that there's no sand really left. And oh yeah, find out how the ball is supposed to feed into the pop bumpers on the plunge. VUK error, that's what we're working on now. Check all flashers. So pretty close to being satisfied with this machine. But give me a moment and I'll show you how to check the voltage on these White Star machines. Okay, so if I remember reading the schematic properly, I believe wires coming from the transformer go into this power connector here. And then looks like, a lot of them are looped around. And then from there they go wherever they go. This says GI from the transformer, so stuff is coming up from the transformer going into the IO driver board, power driver board, and then dispersed throughout. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta check these 2 fuses too. I missed those when I was checking the rest. What is it? For back box RPG and back box RPG switch. Both are supposed to be 3 amp slow blows, so I'll double check on that. I think maybe one of those is the one that was overfused on Ray's machine and ended up smoking something. I forget exactly. But here's my ground lead. Here's my multimeter. Set it to 5 volts DC. Hey, let's see what the TX says today.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, Arnold, come with me if you want to live. Okay, so according to PinWiki, well, here's your 5 volt LED, 5 volt potentiometer where you can adjust the voltage. And the best place to measure 5 volts on the CPU is the bottom leg of resistor R114. Okay, so there we are. And look at this. Got ourselves a good solid 5.06 volts. And that is, I should have measured it before I reseated this connector, just to see if there was a difference, but that was after I reseated the connector. So I've got steady volts for now, and unless the machine resets on me, then I can't fix what is not broken. Although in a previous video I did manage to reset it by wiggling on some wires, so I wonder if we can do that again. Oh, there it is. Voila. Okay, so clearly wiggling those wires causes it to reset. So I have to determine, do I want to repin that connector? Do I want to punch in the wires into the connector better for starters? Do I want to pull the board and change the male headers? That is what I have to determine. So definitely a bit of a weak point. That is, I guess, something that is going to need addressing. So I think I'll start off with just punching those wires into the connector much better than they are. And if that doesn't work, then I will have to repin it. Repinning is pretty easy, except when you get into those 2 wires going into one terminal like yesterday's video. So to make life easy, I would probably do this again. 2 wires going to another piece of wire, jumpered together, and then a terminal pin on just 1 wire instead of trying to put that terminal on 2 wires, which is always a serious pain in the butt. So, how many looped wires are there? 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 of them, I think. So that ain't so bad. So I'd have to do 3 Y connections. And that ain't so horrible. Yeah, maybe I will go that route because IDC connectors are just not ideal, especially for power, and especially when we know that we can reset it. Right, Arnold? What do you have to say for yourself?
You are well armed.
Oh, I'm well armed. Okay, well, we'll see what happens here and I'll be back. Alright, so I decided to repin the entire connector. Making some progress here. There's my alarm. Let's dismiss that, reminding me that I gotta go do something. So I am going to go do that and then I'll be back. Not pinball related, don't worry, don't get too excited. But here's my Y connection. Alright, added a piece of wire, made a Y, shrink tubed it, and it's nice and clean and looks good. And I got my little key and pin number 2. So I just have this many more to go. When I get back, I did remove this connector from the CPU just to give me some extra room on the harness here. I've got all my tools and soldering station here. Got another table here, chair with, well, my repinning tools were there and my shrink tube is there. I lost my little orange scissors. Did you see where they went? Anyway, I'll find them, they'll turn up. But yeah, so now that I have this all set up here, I might as well do this connector as well, because it is 12 volts, ground, 5 volts, plus and minus. Oh, is that for the display? I might have to check the schematics. Maybe this is power, just into the CPU in general, I think, actually. Yeah, that's, I think, true. So I might as well do that while I'm here, get rid of that IDC connector, since I'm all set up for it. But yep, making progress. I gotta go, and then finish up when I get back. All right, I'm back from running my little errand, and also finished with the repinning of these connectors. So we'll take a look. You can see the old IDC connector, and we match this up like so. And it does not appear as though I screwed anything up, so that's good. And then I also did this connector here with 4 wires, and pretty sure I didn't screw anything up there either. Let's see, match the little ramps together so I get the right side. Yep, this has a little ramp on it. You can see there. This has a little ramp on it, so it kind of locks in. All right. And this connector is a little more beige than it is white, but oh well. This connector here somehow managed to have no ramp, which is fine, but I must have grabbed the only friggin' one, because every single other connector that I have in this bag has a ramp on it. So, oh well, it's rampless. It's just not gonna snap in and lock into place, which is kind of, you know, unfortunate. It would have been nice to have a ramp on it, but I only kind of realized it halfway through. But whatever. So let's see. I got my little key here to make it idiot proof. And that goes like this. And it's gonna take a little more oomph to put that connector on now. Okay, look at that. That and that are much better now. I'd be pretty surprised if it resets now. But I guess the first thing to do is power it on and see if it even works, because who knows if I did a bad crimp on something. Well, we're powered up, so let's go service menu, and then just go quit. Do I still have to do the wait for balls thing, or do I? Yeah, I still got to do the wait for balls thing. But hey, I wonder, we should check the voltage just for fun and see if what was that, 5 point. Let's zoom out here so you can see a little better. Ground. Stick that right there. Stick that right there. No. Ouch. Just smashed my hand on the roof. Okay, that's kind of precariously set there. Did I not put up any scores since changing the NVRAM? I'm just making sure my NVRAM actually is saving information. Is it? Start button's flashing, so it must be on free play, so it must be saving my settings. I must have not played a game since I changed the NVRAM. What's that, Arnold?
I'm back.
Ah, I see. Okay. So, the future's not set, that's for sure. Okay, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, we're going to test the 5 volts. Here we go. Can I access my resistor? Yes. Here we go. We lost 0.01. I think I was at 0.7 before. We're at 5.06. Either way, I'm still happy with that. Anything above 5 is good. So, there we go. I think that is done. And the next thing I want to do is change that solenoid out and see if I have one in stock and clean up my giant mess. Okay, so I thought I would run a solenoid test here just for fun. And I know in the game for sure, I have seen this up post come up. Definitely know that is true. But I've found that right up down post here, if I hit enter, it should activate. Nothing happens. And the same is true for my drop target down solenoid. Here we go. My auxiliary number 1, the left up down post, auxiliary number 2, center up down post, auxiliary number 3, right up down post. None of those things are activating in solenoid test, as well as obviously the coil that I have hanging in the bottom of the playfield. But like I said, I have seen this post activate for sure. Then you got that one there. And then, where's the other one? There's 3 of them somewhere. So I'm going to have to figure out what gives, man. What giveth? Huh? What do you think about that, Arnold? Oh, I can't do Arnold in solenoid test. Okay, so I got to figure this out. I'll be back. All right, bin number 1, no luck for the 26-1200 coil. Closest I got is 27-1300. So, getting there. Moving on to bin number 2. Okay, bin number 2 has not been all that fruitful. But I did find a 26-1200. But as you can see, one of the windings is broken. But I can actually fix that if needed. But I'm still going to look for a better quality coil if I can. Oh, pun intended. Quality coils. Anyway, on to the last bin. Okay, strike 3. Holy crap. I guess I'm going to repair that solenoid. There's a chance I might have a spare, like, it's storage somewhere. But I want to fix now. I don't want to go to storage and hunt. And I'm done hunting with 4 solenoids because that was like 200 solenoids. I didn't even show you the first bin, which is all Gottlieb. So I'm going to try and repair that Bally coil, and I'll test the ohms on it and make sure it's proper and, you know, all that good stuff. So I think that's a good candidate. All right, I've tidied up this coil here. I had that winding go directly to the lug, cut off the old piece, soldered it on there well, cleared out the holes in the lugs, and I think I'm going to order the proper coil. I'm not really happy with this one. You know, the one on Pinball Life, it's like, it's got the proper wrapper, and this is AR. I forgot what that means exactly, but I think there's a slight difference. This bobbin is a slight bit shorter too, so I might have to add a spring washer or something. But I checked the coil resistance chart online, and it says it's supposed to be 10.8 ohms. So let's check this out here. We've got, you can't really see it, but it is 11.3. So the ohms are good. And well, I probably can't measure the diode very well or properly since it's like in circuit there, but we'll test it anyway. Now, that just gives you a weird reading. Yeah, I probably would have to cut one leg. But if we test this solenoid in solenoid test and the diode is bad, from what I believe, it'll fire once, lock on, and then burn up the transistor unless I turn off the machine in a hurry. So we can install this, throw it in solenoid test, engage the coil, see if it locks on, and that will determine whether our diode is good. So I think it's time to install that. Actually, I'm getting hungry. I may go take a break. We'll see. Okay, just had me some 8 p.m. dinner, which was some Golden Graham cereal. So that was yummy. And I'm back down. I got thinking about these extra solenoids that were not working, the auxiliary solenoids. And I thought, well, maybe they just run on a different voltage and that's why they're not working. But look what I found. Auxiliary solenoids are for UK only. What the UK had to do is put in a controllable up-down post in each out lane. So like maybe around here and here, so that you could actually, how did that work again? Was there a separate flipper button? I think there was a separate flipper button to activate this up post to prevent it from going in the out lane. And same with there, and I think if you hit both of them together, it would activate a center post between the flippers. This was some bylaw that UK had to skirt in order to, like, you know, because the whole gambling laws and all that stuff. So if you can control the ball going into the out lanes and out hole, then apparently you can put your pinball machine at an arcade in 2003 in the UK. Anyway, I played one of these machines. It was Rolling Stones limited edition at a tournament fairly locally at a guy named Dan Pither's place. Shout out, by the way. And he used to have a Rolling Stones limited edition, and you could I just realized, it just dawned on me that they had an LE Rolling Stones and they had an LE Avatar back in the early Stern days. It's kind of interesting, come to think of it. But yeah, they had these extra flipper buttons and up posts, which you could totally use in that tournament. And yeah, anyway, so I can scratch those off the list. The number 8 drop down target. That's always the drop down solenoid. Oh, maybe because yeah, it has to be latched or unlatched in order for the drop down solenoid to work. I remember I had the same kind of conundrum with Pirates of the Caribbean. So come to think of it, it may actually work, but it has to be unlatched or latched or something. I forget. But Mike T. House, he remembers that from Pirates of the Caribbean. Or when it was Henry and I that were discussing that. Number 8, drop target down. What do we got here? Q4, and power line color is gray 3 amp fuse. Oh, I forgot to check those friggin' extra fuses in the back box there. BB back box fuses times 2. Check. That's what I'm going to do. Auxiliary 1, 2, and 3. Those are off the list. But, blah, 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 and gray-green 3 amp fuse. Whatever that means. But that's controlled by Q8 if we need to get to that point, but I don't think so. Yeah, the drop down and drop, like the drop target in T2 is always a problem. There's a drop down solenoid and a drop up solenoid, and they're always fudgy. Anyway, hopefully that's not the case with this. Enough blathering on here. I'm going to install this, at least temporarily, to get my machine up and running. Probably order the correct and fancier and nice looking, proper looking Stern wrapper solenoid. And then I can at least play this while I wait for that part in the mail. Actually, I could probably ask someone to pick one up for me at Allentown, because several of locals there's probably like 20 locals from the surrounding area, London and surrounding area, that are going. So I can hit one of those boys up, or girls, for a solenoid, and maybe more. All right, the half unwound coil has been removed. And I noticed that the diode was oriented in the reverse order as the Bally coil. So I installed a new diode. Here's the old Bally diode. Then I realized I probably could just swap the wires instead of the diode, right? You know, just switch the orientation of the wires instead of the diode. Wouldn't that have done the same thing effectively? But anyway, we now know that the diode is good on the Bally coil. So I did end up installing a spring washer just to reduce the, yeah, look, there's no motion in there at all, so that's fine. It's not, there's no play. Also, this coil, the old one, was facing that way, so the lugs were kind of straddling the switch there, and it was very sketchy. I was going to put it in the same orientation, and I realized that could be dangerous, shorting the, you know, because this moves around a little bit. Well, I guess that's not true. Yeah, like, you can kind of do that. And if the coil voltage touches the switch voltage, bad things happen. So I oriented it that way, which probably is better, or maybe even the correct way. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at the manual. But, okay, it's installed. Let's go into solenoid test and see if it still kind of locks on. Diagnostics. Move over to coils. Move over to test. Single coil test. Okay, we want to go to, it's number 14, I believe. TX VUK, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Go over to run. Okay, here we go. I'm going to close the coin door. Hopefully it doesn't just lock on immediately. It's very possible it will. Here we go. Don't lock on. Okay. First successful step. Now I got to hit the start button to run the test and hope it doesn't lock on. Again. Okay, here we go. Oh, why are you doing that? Look at this. Why is it doing that? Is it magnetized or something? You move it up a little bit. Once you get to that point, it just sucks its way up. What is that? Oh. Is it possible the spring is causing that? It's touching the metal? No? You move it this? What? It's like pulsing over and over again. Why is that happening? I don't get it. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Like, is the plunger activating the, like, the plunger hitting, like, activating the opto, triggering the opto, causing it to stay up? Anyway, this is weird. And it's the exact same issue I was having with this solenoid. So even though this solenoid is a friggin' disaster, there may actually be nothing wrong with it, technically. I could get rid of the windings and tidy this up, which would save me from ordering a new one. So obviously the problem is something else. So very weird. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Maybe I've got a transistor that is starting to go on me. Possibly. I don't know. I'll be back. Okay, I went into switch test, and sure enough, when I push the plunger up into the coil, I do activate a switch. Lock up number 1, right. So, is that supposed to happen? Because I know, like, when you do the same thing for the ball trough, it does the same thing, kind of thing. Ball 4 trough VUK. So, I wonder if I try the solenoid test with this, if it behaves the same. Okay, trough number 1 up kicker. When I activate this, doesn't stay up. Let's see if I push it up. That does not cause it to activate. Okay, moving on. Okay, I have a strange thing happening here on my Terminator 3. This is a coil I just stuck in here. When you push the plunger up, this is a TX VUK. It like locks on, and you can hear it trying to fire over and over again. I have it in solenoid test for number 14 TX VUK, and if I activate it via the diagnostics, it will do the same thing. So it's kind of wanting to lock on. This is the coil that was in there. Why it looks like this, I have no idea, but the same thing was happening with this coil. That's why I replaced it, but I'm getting the exact same behavior. So it must be something else. A brand new diode on the Bally coil. Resistance on the Bally coil is the correct ohms. So it's a bit of a strange one. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Okay, not exactly sure what's going on with this solenoid. I haven't figured it out yet. I posted to the Pinball Repair Help group and see if I get any response that way. I think it's time to wrap this guy up. In the meanwhile, I was doing a little bit of research and on some T3 gameplay, and I googled it. Pop-up video came up, and it looks like it is Ron Hallett who is doing the video. So I did notice a couple things. First thing I noticed is watch this shot here from the left flipper. Okay. Here we go. Get out of there, red line. Right orbit all the way back. From the right orbit all the way around back to the left flipper. Pretty sure mine does not do that. So I'm wondering if his up post is disabled on purpose for flow. Actually, I just messaged him, see if he replies. And the other thing I noticed is that I'd have to try and find it, and I'm not going to. But as I thought, occasionally, depending on what you choose, well, let's just say after you lock a ball, the ball auto launches, comes around here, because the ball can go into a couple different areas when it's auto launched or manually launched. But sure enough, one of those occasions, especially after locking a ball, the ball is fed out and does in fact come into the pop bumper area. For whatever reason, my ball like tries to go to the pop bumper area, and then it falls back down into whatever hole is back there, and then fires up out here and down this wire form, I believe. So it is in fact supposed to feed into the pops at times, which mine doesn't. And also, I watched Ron when he was getting to the wizard mode there. He had his 1 million flashing. It was the last thing he needed, just like on my game that I had. So he shot this shot, looped all the way around. Actually, that is where I had it queued up, actually. Let's just do this here. Just hit enter. Is it going to make me watch commercials again? Yes, of course. Oh, no, it's not. Hold on. Okay, so watch this. Watch this. Last thing he needs is the million escape. Oh, did I already miss it? Okay, here it is. He's going to go for the million escape shot. There it is. Then he loop passes it over to the right flipper and then hits that shot to initiate the final battle. For whatever reason, when I was on wizard mode and I hit that shot, the ball didn't loop around. Oh, maybe his up post is disabled or something, because when I shot that shot, it didn't go all the way around. It went into a hole back there, and then final battle started automatically. He had to shoot that lit shot in order for his to start. Oops. I did not. I keep forgetting this is a touchscreen. So there's a bit of difference there that I'm not really sure what it all means. But anyway, I'm wrapping it up for tonight. Yeah, so still some unanswered questions. Not quite there yet, but that's fun to work through everything. It'll be more fun when I solve all these little gremlins. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.